Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 9/30/2024. See dealer for details.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Vicky, you were in college, and around during the heyday. So if you're saying that tells me there's something to it.
Bruh, it was next level. And I'm talking about, I was in there for when they played Washington. I've been in there for Oklahoma, Nebraska. I've been in there for Colorado, Nebraska, 1-2s, 1-3s. And look, it was good, but that was next level.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in a Wednesday show here on the Block, or should I say, on the Bach.
Hey.
Jake Bakovitz sitting in for Eric Strickland. I'm Austin Orman. Stricky will be here. He had to call us. There he is. I see him. He's walking in the door right now. Bach, that's okay. We're going to get the conversation started anyways here with some Florida State, Clemson, ACC news here in just a sec. The show is brought to you by NEBCO. If you're looking to start your new career today, check out nebcoinc.com. All right, Bach, new reports out of the ACC. They're exploring a new revenue structure to resolve the lawsuits with Florida State and Clemson. What are they exploring? The same dang thing they explored before. How do Florida State and Clemson get more money is essentially it. Florida State proposed a while back. The move was, hey, we're going to distribute any new money, any TV money, based off of who gets the eyeballs. Obviously, that benefits Florida State because they've played in a lot of big games, getting eyeballs for the wrong reasons right now, but eyeballs are eyeballs, I guess. Same thing for Clemson. Right when this lawsuit started, Clemson was still at or near the peak of its powers. But right now, not a lot of people are tuning in for Clemson, right? Diminished brand. Florida State, people are sure tuning in, maybe to dance on the grave a little bit. But right now, it's Miami, I think, that is getting the most eyeballs in the ACC. But let's just start with, what do you make of, and as we bring in Strick as well, what do we make of the ACC just circling back around to the plan of tying extra dollars to media metrics, not on-field metrics?
Yeah, I think it's something that, I mean, they're desperate, right? I mean, that's kind of what this shows, is they've got to do everything they can to keep the big brands that they have. Now, when Florida State has kind of flirted with the SEC or the Big Ten, those rumors have kind of been shot down pretty quickly, and it doesn't look like those conferences are immediately interested in expanding, particularly with Florida State. I've always argued that it would probably be good for the Big Ten to get a Southern team, for as much as they've expanded out west and of course along the East Coast earlier. The winners on the field outside of Michigan this past year have been from the Southern region. So I think that could be interesting for the Big Ten down the line. But I kind of like what they're doing. I mean, it's really the only way probably to make Florida State and Clemson happy, but it does remind you how quickly these things can shift. One year Louisville might be good and drawing eyeballs. Another year North Carolina State might. So how do you long-term set up is it directly going to be that year tied to, what viewership you get on TV, and then you're kind of looking at, okay, well, yeah, Louisville's the game did good in this bracket, or Clemson did good in this bracket, but there was nobody on to compete at that time. How much more important does a Friday night game? Is that more interesting to a Florida State or a Clemson to be able to get some of those? So it's really interesting. That's a dance that's going to be hard to do. But for the ACC, they've got to do something to keep these guys around. The Big 12, who was on life support at one time, seems to have surpassed the ACC. And not in basketball. Obviously, this is football. The talks that we're having, but even just looking up and down Miami's schedule right now, they have one ranked opponent left, and that's Louisville, and they're back at number 19. And so the ACC is wide open. They had a champion last year go undefeated, didn't get to the call to the playoffs. Now they did, they've changed some things with the playoffs now to where that won't happen again, but it's clearly losing its spot as what once was one of the premier conferences in college football.
Well,
which one you want, Stricky?
There we
go.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's been a battle, obviously, for the top. Ludacris said, "I'm coming for that number one spot." That's one of the songs, and everybody's been fighting for it. SEC's been battling. Big Ten media rights deals went through the roof. Now you find ACC. There's been that battle, and we're talking football only at this particular. There's been that big battle as who's up next. And, Big 12 has been saying that basically they're it. And it looks like they're making power moves to do so with a lot of the additions that they made, where you have ACC in a sense that's like holding on like a bunking bronco. You know what I mean? When you go to the bull riding contest, they hold on for dear life. And that's what it seems like to me, that they really not doing an addition. They're doing a lot of wanting to have subtractions. So my question then becomes, is it similar? This is the question. I'll post you guys. Is this a similar look, or we're in a different space as to what Texas and Oklahoma out of the Big 12? Are you looking at Florida State and Clemson at the time of last year trying to make a power play and put themselves in a position to be similar to what Oklahoma and Texas were, right? But here's the question about that. You put these power plays in play and in motion, and then really you're looking to move. So Texas and Oklahoma is still looking to move. Is this the case with Clemson and Florida State? I don't know. It's unfortunate now that they're hurting. There's not much leverage at this point. This is kind of similar to what we talked about on the show not too long ago about Michigan and gosh darn, my mind's quick drawing a blank. Give me help.
Harbaugh?
Coach. No,
Sherman Moore.
Yeah.
Coach
Moore.
Sherman soft. That's what you just called him.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Golly. Coach Moore, right? Not much leverage now.
Right.
It's not the same. He doesn't really carry leverage in the situation. Pretty much you're at the beck and call of whatever it's going to be. And so is this what we're looking at with this situation or what?
Well, Florida State and Clemson, I think, are still hanging on to a little bit of leverage because some of these TV ratings lag a little bit, right? They're still name brands in the ACC, right? They haven't lost all their luster, but Florida State's 0-3. And most of the headlines around Clemson right now are negative. I don't care if they put up, 50 points on App State in the first half. Clemson's not the national championship program it used to be. Florida State isn't the national championship program it was even last year. And so when TV networks, specifically the four-letter network right now, looks at these schools, they want the ACC because it's still nominally a power league. But Florida State and Clemson don't have that Texas-Oklahoma cachet to stand on. Texas and Oklahoma left the league pretty much on top. Clemson and Florida State are trying to leave the league from the middle. Texas was such a big revenue driver there. Oklahoma was the legacy brand, really, that was left in that Big 12. I'm sorry, Iowa State, year round. Kansas State, year round. But Oklahoma was the brand there. So, yes, Florida State and Clemson, I think, want to be Oklahoma and Texas, but the SEC doesn't really want them because guess what? There's already an SEC team from Florida and already an SEC team from South Carolina. You don't add anything with these two schools aside from the name. The ACC obviously wants to keep them. The Big 12 has UCF, so they'd prefer Florida State and Clemson, but not if they know these teams are going to be headaches. And for the Big 10, yeah, you should probably want to get south, but think about just how mad Big Ten schools were at Nebraska. Nebraska legitimately didn't try anything like what Florida State and Clemson is, right? There are all those jokes about, oh, is Nebraska going to leave the conference? We don't want you to kick out anyways. We're going to go play in the Big 12 during COVID. That was never a serious option. But Florida State and Clemson are suing the conference. They don't want to be there. Nebraska wanted to be in the Big Ten. So I just don't think the Big Ten, with as much as it seems to value stability and chasing from a position of power, I don't think the Big Ten wants to introduce a couple chaos agents into the picture.
Well, it's all just going to be interesting as this moves on, is because the Big 12 and the ACC, remember this past year added SMU, Cal, and Stanford. That doesn't sound like a power conference.
Doesn't move the needle,
right? That's not necessarily doing it for them. So the ACC and the Big 12, and credit to the Big 12 because they've added all these brands. They've got a wildly entertaining race going this year. But at the bottom line is the Big 10 or the SEC ever comes knocking on any of their premier schools, they're going to be heading out, as long as they can legally. That's what Florida State and Clemson are trying to get through, legally be able to leave. Now, does the Big 10 or the SEC want them, as to Austin's point? That's another question. But, that's where you're kind of fighting upwards and you're kind of in that middle ground. And, there's teams in college football that have always been there. You look at Mike Elko and Duke, and they lose their coach or their quarterback and their head coach. And, just in today's age, if you're kind of middle brand and you do well, you exceed expectations, then people are going to start come calling for your coach and your quarterback. And so it's kind of the same thing here where, as good as the Big 12 and ACC can do and as programs rise, you almost don't want them to do too well because then the Big 10 and the SEC can come get them. And that's just at some point, this conference realignment might die down for a year or two, might only have a few moves here and there, but it feels like it's going to be continuous. And I don't know what the stop is, except for, what I've said for a long time is that at some point, I think the SEC and the Big 10 are your AFC and NFC, because at some point, all the brands that are wanted will have to be in those conferences.
The fact that we've circled back to the original plan, right, of splitting money based on eyeballs, based on media metrics, does that say more about where the ACC is or about Florida State and Clemson? I think the ACC has continually tried to keep these two schools in the fold because it knows that when they're rolling, they are good for eyeballs. But I wonder if Florida State and Clemson had moved off of this plan and said, okay, we gave you this proposal. You didn't like it. We're going to try everything we can to leave. Maybe Florida State and Clemson are seeing that, hey, maybe we're not as valuable as we thought we were. So let's repropose this plan just so we have a home and a conference that people take at least somewhat seriously.
I think that's something that you have to weigh out. And the reason being is we're looking at the start of what the SEC and both the Big Ten have begun, which is their media rights deal. So you're looking at, roughly around $100 million or something like that with that deal. They've already set their distributions. Those are always already established. I believe at this time in the early stages, you're looking at 7 years, in the early stages of these TV rights deals, they're not looking to do anything at this particular point. The reason being is then that would be a redistribution. You can't go back this early and have those renegotiations, even with the additions. So I would only assume that both of those power conferences may not be looking for an expansion until mid-contract, maybe 4 years down the road. So we're looking at, I believe, at a minimum of 4 years before we're probably looking at an addition, or there's going to be some provisions put in place that you're going to have to take a minimum, and then, later on down the road, there can be a negotiation for, getting your full share. That's the thing that I see. I like what you said, Austin. I think they had to do this, but there's another thing to weigh out. I know that when we look at the ACC, we're looking at 2036. That's the number that usually comes up. That's really fully not the case. ESPN is really the holder of those cards. They're holding the full house in that deck, and the reason being is I think in 27 they have an opportunity to opt in to the extra years up to 36. So really you're looking at 27 before you're close to being able to potentially get out. That's not locked in stock, but the proposal of that deal, I think it's a show and prove opportunity, meaning you put up the numbers, there's potentially $25 million waiting on you. Also in the basketball realm, the metrics are set. You get to a playoff, you get to a championship game, your ranking is in the top 20, 25, or 10. There's bonuses available to you. So it's gonna promote excellence throughout the conference, and whether or not they show or prove, which at this point they have not, at this point, Clemson and so forth, Miami is looking like they're on the way to the pursuit of that. It hasn't been solidified yet, it's still clear, but that's something they're talking about.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up. We were going to get there eventually. It's a good time to jump into it. The deal ending in 2027 and ESPN having to decide now whether or not to lock in essentially by February, like you said, Strick, that's a big deal. I mean, 2027 or even 2025 is a lot different than 2036, but
Facts.
There's no way ESPN opts out. Even with Florida State and Clemson down, this is a bargain for ESPN, right?
Locked.
Compared to what you're giving the SEC, you still get, again, a nominal power conference for cheap.
For the
right?
low.
Low. So there's no way ESPN
bargain
doesn't
basement deals
opt in, which means Clemson and Florida State are going to keep trying to get out, and then it essentially turns it into a 2036 deal. But this is where...
Well, with no home to go, do you try to get out? But go.
Well, obviously
on.
Florida State and Clemson will, but this is why it's a bad time for those programs to be bad right now.
Yeah.
If you take Clemson's run and shift it in the future 5 years, so instead of winning in 16 and 18 when they won, if they win in 21 and 23, or Florida State is having its magical season
now
this year, that changes it. Because
That's
if you're drawing
story.
eyeballs to ESPN, you can go say, hey, look at everything we're doing. We are worth more than the 25, 30 million you're getting now. Okay, you have to pay more, right? You have to. You can't afford to re-up for this little, right? There's more value in it than that, and we're going to be a pain in your butt if you don't re-up. But because those two programs are down, I don't know if anyone's sold on Miami, who looks really good, but we've been here with Miami before. You can't bank on that necessarily continuing. NC State doesn't move the needle. Duke football doesn't move the needle. Carolina football doesn't move the needle. And you also, I think both you brought this up, it's not just tied to football. It is also tied to men's basketball. Sways, you mentioned that as well. So yeah, these media metrics are not just football. It's also where you finish in men's basketball, how your games rate in that sport as well. But that is maybe secondary. I mean, football's number one and probably number two here. So it doesn't matter how many eyeballs, Duke basketball versus Carolina brings in twice a year. You get more from your football product 4 or 5 times over at least than your biggest basketball games.
Which is, it's frustrating. As basketball fans, I know we all are in, in that kind of category. And, it really has, it's hurt. I mean, the ACC, the Big 12 looks, I mean, so some of it's just intriguing just to see what it looks like this upcoming basketball season. But that is the bottom line. And that's, again, it can be frustrating, but that's kind of your world in there. And that's why I've thought for a long time too, with all this, especially with these Cal and Stanford and the ACC and, the reverse of that, SMU, just all these geographical struggles that you're having now, it's all football related. So these conferences, I know it'd be even more pandemonium and more frustrations and lots of crossing T's and dotting I's for paperwork there. But it makes zero sense to me that all these decisions are made based purely on football. Now, what does make sense is the sense, right? It's the money. That's right. why it's there. But it's like all these other sports have to suffer, and I hesitate to say that, but as far as like travel and all that sort of stuff, breaking off traditional rivalries, you're bringing in new. Again, Big 12 looks more and more interesting every day with what they're trying to add. Now, I don't think UConn officially went in there or was going to go in there, but the ACC certainly has one of the best basketball brands tied to it, and you just wish that it mattered a little bit more, but it just doesn't.
Sways on Twitter says, if the ACC does blow up, let's bring Pitt into the Big Ten. Football is decent. Big Ten coach in Narduzzi, travel partner for Penn State. Volleyball has definitely been on the upswing. Basketball is kind of hit or miss. Capel has them kind of in the middle of the ACC. If the ACC does blow up, if ESPN says you're not valuable enough, we're going to blow up the conference, would Pitt fit the Big Ten?
I mean, I think as a whole, I mean, they find themselves, especially location-wise, a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
Playing and traveling, like you said, you have Penn State there, not too far from Michigan State and Indiana, so travel wise, it makes sense. It fits, but does it, put you on par with an SEC?
No,
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Like I think when you look at it right now, let's just look at it right now and project out for the next 2 to 3 years. Because like I said, I don't believe SEC or Big Ten are moving expansion until there's an establishment of the new cycle of the college football championship. We're also going to say that that's king right now because that's the big money maker. Basketball wise, I don't believe, like you said, Pitt totally moves. I think if you want to establish yourself, Big Ten to me right now, basketball wise, is behind the Big 12. I think it's behind ACC a little bit. I think on par, maybe.
Big 12 ahead. Big East probably ahead. SEC, I would argue, ahead of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then it's neck and neck between the ACC and the Big Ten.
Yeah. So I would be looking for a program at that point that could raise my needle, especially in the football spectrum. Give me a little bit more balance. And we went over that with the SEC as far as the balance of, who we felt across the board would favor the better at the end of the day. Who would that be? Just looking at next 2 years, are you looking at Miami? Do you want to get into South Florida? You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have a Florida connection at this point. You're definitely Northeast. You're Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
Maryland gives you East.
Right.
You're across the board. You don't really touch the Southeast at this point. Mm-hmm. Would you prefer to go with a Clemson or would you prefer to go into South Florida with a Miami? Tough.
I don't know. I mean, Miami
will give you academics a little bit, right? Isn't that a pretty good private school? I don't know. Aren't they good academically?
Miami is just so weird to me because don't forget they were an independent before they joined the Big East. Then they jumped from the Big East to the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do you wait on Notre Dame?
Notre Dame's if Notre Dame would do it,
yeah. Well, the power ranking for me is Notre Dame. Then honestly, I think you try to stay out of the Southeast, right? Let the ACC be that regional power if it wants to. Yeah, there's a lot of talent down there. You can't completely ignore it. But for every kid that wants to stay in the Southeast, I'm sure there's one that wants to get out as well. I think you get more in the Maryland area, right? More the straight East, your Carolina schools more than your Florida schools.
Well, you see, we're not talking about Pac-12. You see what I'm saying? That's the crazy part about it. Like, does the Pac-12 now become the what do they call it? Not the Power Five, but the
Group of Six.
The Group of Six.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to leave the Group of Six?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy when you really think about that. Like, this is where we've come to now. Pac-12 is now discussed as in a Group of Five, Group of Six category.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And for what it's worth, too, in the big at least the rumors for if the ACC did break up, the Big Ten was interested in. It's actually North Carolina and Virginia are the teams that most people would be desirable for the Big Ten, big media markets, big states, and then their academics as
Georgia
well.
Tech.
So yeah, Georgia Tech's been thrown out there. So it's weird because you don't necessarily think of the football brands first, which again, I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to go, but that's kind of the Big Ten ways that they've done it in the past.
Right. Good stuff there, Bach. Appreciate you sitting in, making it on the Bach for a segment with us. We'll go to break. When we get back, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Husker baseball schedule got released. We'll get Evan's thoughts on that. And I guess Husker football as well. 402-464-5685. Bill and Bennett, appreciate your text. Sways on our Twitter stream. Appreciate it. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald joins us after this.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-end sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $437 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1004120, $437 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 5,500 dual signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 9/30/2024. See dealer for details.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's #1 fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
In dealing with the high interest rates, it's very important that you get as much bang for the buck. And that's what our Remington Homes is all about.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier and more affordable.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com. Pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, whether you want painted trim or other upgrades. Those are all options with our Remington Homes. If you're looking for more affordability and streamlined, you're probably better off with a Remington home. People get into homes that didn't think they could get into a home. A good product for the right price in budget.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Kim with Midwest Bank. We know there is more to your business than numbers and spreadsheets. For us at Midwest Bank, the people who make up a business matter most. We believe in getting to know you and your business and providing customized banking solutions that help protect your business and help it grow. Schedule a free consultation with us today. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. As you gear up for game day this season, don't forget the MVP in your life. Whether it's a ruby bracelet to show off her team spirit, or a timeless Heartland diamond that shines from across the room, we've got the perfect play. Our experts at Sartor Heyman are here to help you make the winning move. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block. It's a Wednesday at 2:30, which means we're going to our VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We welcome in Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, Husker football 3-0. How's that for you? How are things different in the press box versus a 2-1, a 1-2 team?
I mean, there's a little bit more energy, I suppose, because we're seeing something different. I mean, you got to go back to 2016, the last time Nebraska started that way. It's kind of a throwback to all the Husker powerhouse teams of yore, when it felt like it was a given that you'd start 6-0, 7-0, and maybe see where you fit in nationally. And so it's kind of getting to that point. It's kind of fun. I will say, having covered the previous 7 teams, when you win, guys want to talk quite a bit more. So I think we've seen a lot of that post game and during the week. A lot of guys are kind of more willing, certainly, to share their experience and their excitement about how the team has done through the first quarter of the year.
Nebraska ranked, Illinois ranked. First time we get a ranked versus ranked matchup in Lincoln since 2013. Evan, it's been 11 years. I don't know how many people, not just in the state of Nebraska, but observers of the program would have said it would have been a decade plus since a ranked Nebraska hosted a ranked team in Memorial Stadium, looking for their first win in such a game since 2011. But it's year 2 for Matt Rule. What is it that he's done so well to get this program, skipping a year, in the typical Matt Rule cycle? And do you think people are starting to say to themselves, yeah, Matt Rule has Nebraska on the right track to where Nebraska wants to be?
Yeah, I think pretty clearly there's national recognition for what Matt Rule and Nebraska are doing. I mean, you can hear it on College Game Day. You can hear it on national radio. You can hear it on or read it on national coverage that's put out there. I think the ranking is another bit of validation there that Nebraska is heading in the right direction. Like, they didn't necessarily have to be ranked at 2-0 or 3-0, but people recognize talent upgrades, certainly what Dylan Raiola has done and what his ceiling can be, the upgrades they had offensively at the skill position spots, like all that, I think sort of adds up to what has been a pretty optimistic view of Nebraska coming into the year. And as far as what Matt Rule's done, I think there's 2 things that stand out to me. One has been the developmental piece, where you see guys that have been in the program and they're getting better. They're better than they were. And there are examples on both lines. There are examples, all over the defense, certainly, of guys who have gotten better in their second year. We've seen, Nebraska go to second and third string players the last few weeks in these second half blowouts, which only aids in development and depth. So I think that starts there. And then the other part to me has been Rule getting Nebraska to focus on itself and to really shut out sort of the external stuff. I mean, I kind of felt that against Colorado and then a little bit against Northern Iowa last week, where they talk about the rivalry because they're asked about the rivalry, but what really gets them going and what kind of lights up their eyes is talking about their own standard and saying, we have a certain level that we want to live up to. We want to show a certain quality of football on film. And if we don't do it, we're kind of disappointed. And the win in some ways is almost the afterthought to this sort of relentless drive to improve. And so I think that kind of jives with what Matt Rule said this week, is where Nebraska is sort of making that transition from being the hunter to being the hunted, and the team that other teams are starting to stack up against. So I think just mentally, physically, there's a lot of good stuff going on, and it's reflected in the record and the ranking, and it should set up a pretty fun Friday.
On that last point there, Evan, we've heard process. It's about us. It's not about them from Matt Rule, really since day one. But he's also 2-19 against ranked teams in his career in college. He's going to say the right thing. He's going to put on, the stoic face and, not make it about himself. But do you think for Matt Rule, even if you would never admit it, there is some extra juice in Friday night's game just to maybe try to rewrite the narrative about that 2-19 record now that he's at Nebraska?
I mean, I think he's aware of it. He's about as self-aware of a coach as any that I've ever covered. Like, I think he knows that. He'd probably, if you said that to him, he'd probably make light of it a little bit, probably turn it into a joke or something like that. To me, it's just as much, hey, can Nebraska get over its ranked issues of late? When you talk about losing 23 straight to a top 25 team going back to Oregon in 2016. So, like, yeah, there's probably some individual motivation for Matt Rule, but, this is a team this year that's already starting to change the narrative about itself, change some of the skids and the things that have gone against it. And this would be another step in that direction. I mean, Illinois is not maybe the first team you think about when you talk about beating a ranked opponent, but they've been a good program of late under Brett Bielema, and I think that would just represent another tangible step forward. And they're going to get another one when they go to Purdue. And can they win on the road? And you're going to get another one later in the year about, can you end that long skid against Wisconsin? So it's like every week, I think you can kind of look at something that as an opportunity for Nebraska to do something that it hasn't done in a while. And, they got the monkey off their back a couple weeks ago against Colorado of performing well and showing well in a big game on a national stage. And this is sort of a version of that now in the Big Ten on a Friday night. You're going to have a lot of eyes on you as one of the few games going on in college football. So, how do they hold up against a peer in the Big Ten, against a team that has as physical a defense as Nebraska does, that has some skill players, especially at receiver, that are as good as Nebraska does? This might be the week maybe where Nebraska has a chance to win that first one-score game under Matt Rule. That hasn't happened yet, and I think there'd be a lot of value just for the team and probably for the fan base too, in building some confidence that some of these tight games can start going Nebraska's way.
Evan, this is something that I've been talking about on the block here, and thank you once again for joining us, Omaha World Herald's best, Evan Bland. Evan, I've been talking about and using the metaphor as a mirror, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about the schedule, the ramp up, there seems to have been different lessons and ways to which you can show improvement or learn from what you're about to face, right? You obviously had Northern Iowa with a strong run game. They were gonna do it, and they were gonna be diligent at doing it, and you have to be able to stop it. And if you don't, you could be trouble. So you face that, you learn from that. You had some moments that it didn't look good, and so forth and so on. Colorado, big challenge, big stage, big moments. Everybody's watching. Everybody's a revenge. All of these different things, and then coming out in the beginning, can you be different than what you've been before? Now, when I look at this game, you're looking at a mirror. Let's just take, for example, both teams. Both of them, like you just alluded to, share balance, right? They're balanced both in the run. They're balanced both in the pass. You got them both solid defenses, great takeaway defense. This has been a problem for you. Now you're going to be challenged on it because they're a +9 or +8 or 9 in turnover differential. So you've got that going. But then let's look at the quarterbacks. Dylan Raiola, he's at 73.8% as far as his completion rating. He's at 670 yards. He has 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he played 3 games. His yards per attempt, 8.4. Let's look at Luke Altmaier. His completions at 69.2, 647 yards, 6 TDs, no interceptions, 3 games, 8.3 yards per attempt. So again, I just gave you individuals, but collectively as well, you're looking at a mirror. When you're dealing with a mirror, I had to caveat so I can get you to understand the premise of the question. When you're looking at a mirror, what do you want to learn out of that? What is the gain? Not just only the Big Ten, game that you're playing, maybe even the 1-score single-digit win. But what can you glean off of looking at yourself in the mirror and playing someone and not yourself in practice or scrimmage or anything like that?
No, that's a great point, because the first 3 games you can look at, and Nebraska had clear advantages in certain areas. Even the Colorado game, I think you could objectively look at it and say, hey, they had the advantage on both lines and in different spots. And, I think you're right, Strick. Like, you look at Illinois and you just kind of laid it out. Like, it's a similar team to Nebraska in style, in talent level, in resources. And so I think, it comes back to me again to the margin for error gets smaller. So, like, this is where execution becomes more important. And Nebraska made mistakes in their first 3 games, and they talked about it, and we've talked about it, and they still won comfortably. And it's going to be a different story with a team like Illinois that, also has a strong NIL program and has quality players. And so I think it comes down to the little stuff. Like, that starts to matter more. Making your field goals matters more. Flipping the field and executing a good punt and punt coverage matters more. Converting a critical 3rd down or even a 4th down matters more. So, like, I just think all the little areas that we've been talking about that Nebraska's been trying to improve, like the sensitivity for those moments heightens because every moment's going to matter just a little bit more. Matt Rule said it today after practice about this idea that he's expecting a 4-quarter game, and this probably won't be a situation where you're able to empty the bench in the 4th quarter and get a bunch of guys reps. Like, it's a game where your guys are going to have to be guys. So I think that kind of all goes into it, and it's going to be just the next sort of test to see for Nebraska if it is the team that it thinks it is.
Evan, let me add on to that. I like, man, you that's why you're Omaha World Herald's best. You broke that down quite eloquently. Let's dig into this right here. Check this out. If they do, and this is hypothetical because we don't know what the outcome is going to be, and I'm not Miss Cleo. She was fraudulent, so I'm not her, and she's not like us. So here's the thing: what if it did happen? How would you view it? Being a writer, being at the Omaha World Herald, watching, football and everything that's going, how would you view it if they came in and pulled off like a Colorado against this team? Like, how would you look at that?
Well, I mean, it would depend on how it happened.
How it happened? Okay.
Like if the defense comes out and creates some takeaways, like, that would be notable because Illinois' offense to this point hasn't really given the ball away much at all. So I think that would be a way that you would look at it. And to me, like, the difference between these two teams that are so similar is the quarterback position. And Luke Altmaier is a good quarterback, but I don't think he has the ceiling that Dylan Raiola has. And so maybe that would be one of those differences is, Raiola is able to come out and he's got the deep ball working and he's getting the ball to guys in space and they're making plays. And then the defense would probably have to, again, force the issue with a fumble or an interception, maybe score some points on its own. But because I think those are some of the areas that, like, those are the areas that, Nebraska can still improve on, that still has maybe a higher ceiling than what they've shown. So, we'll see. Like, I think that's in play for them. I think better special teams is in play for them. It's just a matter of going out and doing it. So if they were to do that, it would be certainly eye-opening. I mean, the spread is 8, 9, 10 points, somewhere in that range right now. So if you beat that by a significant margin, then there would be a pretty obvious reason for that. And my hunch would be it would start with the quarterback.
Right. When you look at this game, my last question: who would be best suited to play from ahead, play from ahead and play from behind? When you look at both teams, who would you say would be best suited to play from a lead as opposed to a deficit? That's a tough one.
I think, I guess the way I would look at it is I think Nebraska would be more or better suited to play from behind than it has in the past. Okay. Certainly last year with the offense and the struggles that they had moving the ball, like Dylan Raiola, his ability to throw that deep ball with accuracy you can't scheme that. Like, either you have a guy that can do it or you don't. And we haven't seen that from Nebraska. They've been leading pretty much throughout in every game they've played so far. So, some of that is sort of, I guess, conjecture or a presumption. But I think Illinois would be a little bit more uncomfortable in that way. I mean, they are going to move the ball based on balance. Again, Altmaier can scramble a little bit. He can, he can put the ball where he wants to put it, but I don't think they have the same explosive ability, even with guys like Pat Bryant at receiver, that Nebraska necessarily does. So I think if Illinois falls behind, there's going to be some discomfort there, and the black shirts are going to be licking their chops and getting after the quarterback. If Nebraska falls behind, I think they have enough weapons to where it's maybe not as urgent or as much of a slog trying to get back into it the way that it has been recently.
Evan, before we let you go, I do want to touch on the Husker baseball schedule with you. We got that yesterday morning. The word that I come up with when I look especially at the non-conference schedule, whether that's early in the year and then even through the midweeks, is ambitious. A lot of at-large teams, a lot of conference winning or top of the conference teams. Is ambitious how you would describe this Nebraska non-conference schedule?
That is how I would describe it, Austin. That's how I wrote it actually yesterday, was ambitious. And it's a schedule that you don't put together unless you have a veteran team. Like if you had a young team and you were going down to the MLB Desert Invitational and you're probably playing some SEC schools, and then you got LSU and you're going to Louisiana, the Sun Belt champs, like you could be looking at, 3-11 really fast if you don't have your sea legs. But like, this is a team that they lost their Friday starter and their starting catcher, and pretty much everybody else back that played a key role is there. And so like, this is a year where if you're Nebraska, you go all in on the strength of schedule and just know that in those first few weeks, every win that you get on a neutral site or in some of these road games, it's RPI gold, and it's going to come back to really be valuable in May when the selection committee figures some things out. And if you win enough of those games, then you're a surefire contender to host a regional, something that Nebraska still hasn't done since 2008. So it's certainly ambitious. You're probably going to lose, more games than certainly you would if you played lesser opponents. But I think it's it's a sign of confidence from Nebraska, man, that they feel like they can compete. And, they're going to have a different Big Ten slate when you're talking about, UCLA and USC on the schedule, Washington, which opens the home slate. But the non-conference, they're not afraid to go out and play some of these teams. To have Oregon State, of all teams, a national brand, coming to Haymarket Park at the end of March. I mean, how cool is that? So you add all that with a pretty strong midweek slate as well. And it's a year where like the wins really will mean something because, of the teams that they're playing and the RPIs attached to it. So, really it is. It's an ambitious schedule for Nebraska, and they feel like they have a team that can go and compete.
Outside of that initial stretch from first pitch in the MLB Desert Invitational through the end of Frisco, there are two other parts on the schedule that really stand out to me, Evan. The first is that mid to late March stretch where Nebraska will have the 2 games at home against Wichita State. Then it's a California road swing at UCLA, at Pepperdine, which, funny enough, won't really do anything for Nebraska's RPI if they're like they have been recently. But then at USC, and then you get back to the Midwest at Kansas State in Manhattan before you get Oregon State. How big of a benefit is it to Nebraska, or is it a benefit to Nebraska, to get that West Coast road swing in conference out of the way early when the weather is still maybe not as good here in the Midwest?
Yeah, I think it's nice for Nebraska to get that going early. I mean, we all live in the Midwest and know that weather in March is awfully unpredictable, and a little bit less so on the West Coast. So, I mean, it could be 70s in Lincoln when they're out there. It could be 25 and sleeting. Like who the heck knows what it'll be like, but it's going to be different. The thing that I'm going to be writing about as the season gets closer though too, is like, I think the casual baseball fan would look at that swing, oh my goodness, at UCLA, at USC, at Pepperdine, and think like, that's a huge like gauntlet to go into. And really it's not. I mean, USC hasn't been a national power in decades. UCLA's RPI last year was higher than 180, which is not good. Like, this is a team that's been a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament a decade ago, and it's not the same team. And some of that's the portal and NIL and different things kind of creeping in there. But like, I think when this decision to expand the Big Ten was made a few years ago, like there was this idea that these West Coast teams were going to run the league. I just don't see it. I mean, Washington struggled last year, coming off a super regional the year before. Oregon's probably been the most consistent of those clubs right now. So I think it's great for Nebraska to get out there from a weather perspective, probably from a recruiting perspective. And if the Huskers have the team they think they do, I think they'll be competitive in all those games for sure.
And Nebraska misses Oregon in baseball, which should be noted on the schedule as well. But then, Evan, the end of the year, the regular season at least, you see the Big Ten schedule makers at it again. They give Nebraska, two of the teams that have been kind of a thorn in its side for various reasons over most of the last 6 or 7 years. Home series, senior night, and whatnot against Michigan. We know that rivalry back, especially when Eric Bakich was at Michigan. And then at Purdue, who, of course, didn't play games and didn't help Nebraska in its quest to return to Omaha. Was that intentional from the Big Ten, or did it just work out that way?
I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe someone has a sense of humor. If they follow Husker baseball Twitter. Yeah, I mean, really the last 3 years, Purdue's been involved in Nebraska's fate. Last year, it was Nebraska was actually rooting for Purdue with Illinois on the other side. They had a shot at the regular season title, and Purdue couldn't rise to the occasion. I think Illinois swept. And the year before that, they played, and Nebraska kept Purdue out of the postseason. And in 22, Purdue had the infamous rainout game that kept Nebraska out of the Big Ten tournament. So. Yeah, there's a little bit of extra juice between those three schools. And so, yeah, for Nebraska to go out to West Lafayette there at the end of the regular season, I mean, maybe there are going to be some things on the line at that point for Purdue, for Nebraska. And that's what you want. Like, even as this league expands, like, you want to have some storylines and some bad blood and some history between these teams. And Nebraska and Purdue, of all teams, actually do have some now. So it's kind of a fun little finale to the season.
Evan, thanks as always for your time. Enjoy some Friday night football in Memorial Stadium here at the end of the week. Hope to catch up with you next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys. Yep. See you later.
Evan joined us on our VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll wrap up hour one of On the Block with the narrative battle for American League MVP. He's Strick. I'm Austin. Back after this. Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com. Are you looking for affordable drinks and a great atmosphere this football season? Highball Bar has you covered. Whether it's pregame tailgating, postgame festivities, or in-game celebrations, Highball Bar is the place to be. With $4 beers, $4 mixed drinks, and more during their 4 to 8 p.m. daily happy hour, Highball Bar will quickly become your go-to place to sit back, unwind, and be your team's number one fan. Highball Bar, located in downtown Lincoln, just 3 blocks from Memorial Stadium at 122 North 11th Street.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny and breezy with a high around 90. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, mostly clear with a low around 72. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine with a high around 93. I'm meteorologist Kyle Puck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through September 22nd, there's a special for ticket listeners only. Enjoy USDA choice porterhouse steaks for just $9.99 per pound and all natural extra meaty loin back pork ribs for $2.99 per pound. Tell the meat market you heard these prices on 93.7 The Ticket to get the deals. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we are out of the gate for September with a very special GMC sales offer. We must move out all new GMC truck inventory fast. So right now at Koppel, we are offering true GM supplier pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard right. True GM supplier pricing on all GMC Sierras. That's over $12,000 off on select models. That's GM supplier pricing, $12,000 off on Sierras. Do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, welcome. You remember the movie? You don't remember, but I know y'all remember. I'm going to do it right here. Welcome back to On the Block. There was a movie out that was called Good
Morning Vietnam.
That was my little intro, but I couldn't say Good Morning Vietnam. We ain't in Vietnam. We in good old Lincoln right
Thank
here
goodness
on
for that.
1040 O Street. But nonetheless, we're going to get into a short segment here because baseball is winding down. It is starting to come to a close. People are fighting. They're shucking and jiving for position, hopefully trying to get a run to get into the playoffs. That's where we find ourselves right now. In the meantime, in between time, there's a big race going on also, and there's questions that need to be answered. And I got to turn to the resident baseball savant, my guy.
I'm turning to the guy that played Major League Baseball.
I had an interview today talking about baseball. It was beautiful to be able to. A guy reached out to me. He's called Sidearm Podcast, and basically he's one of those submarine type pictures, and he wanted to talk a little bit and just kind of dig in. And so I'm kind of in a baseball frame of mind right now, and this is why I want to ask you the question because when we're looking at the close of it, there's also going to be discussions on who's going to win awards. And I ask you, Austin Orman, my great friend, who has the narrative advantage when you're talking about the AL MVP race? Is it not Bobby Witt Jr., he's not involved, or Aaron Judge alone?
That's how you view it? That's how we're doing this? That's how we're doing this.
I absolutely love Bobby Witt Jr. I add him into the discussion. Is it who holds the advantage in the narrative? Because obviously Judge has been there before. Judge has been in the conversation since dang near coming into the league. He's consistently slugging and hitting bombs, but the all-around talent of who Bobby Witt Jr. is he able to jump in a different way into this discussion now?
Well, Strick, that's my question for you, because people know that I'm going to go with Bobby Witt Jr.
Of course,
having
you
a
are.
narrative edge. But it's undeniable what Aaron Judge is doing offensively. An OPS plus of 219. He's 2.19 times more valuable just as a hitter, essentially, than any player, an average player, right? That's crazy. If you're an outsider and you're looking at this race, do you take a guy in Aaron Judge, who is the best player on the best team in the American League right now, challenging for the 1 seed, who's doing stuff we haven't seen done since Ted Williams, since Hank Aaron, and since Barry Bonds? Or do you take a five-tool player who's leading one of the greatest turnarounds in sports history? The Royals have already won 26 more games this year than they did all last year. Oh, and by the way, Stricky, just last night, Bobby Witt Jr. became the first primary shortstop to go have multiple seasons of 30 homers and 30 stolen bases. Did it last year, did it last night, walked and then stole second base to get to 30-30. Oh, by the way, he also has hit 10 triples, multiple grand slams, and has multiple 4-hit games this year. The only player who has reached 30-30-10 with multiple grand slams and multiple 4-hit games twice, Bobby Witt Jr. Did it last year, did it this year. Oh, and by the way, while I'm on Bobby Witt Jr. here, let me just scroll through my list of fun Bobby Witt Jr. stats. Fastest player in baseball, top 5 out above average in defensive runs saved in baseball. That's pretty darn good right there. And you look at it, if you ask me. So from the outside, Strick, do you take the history that Bobby Witt Jr. is making as a shortstop, or Aaron Judge reclaiming, the mantle of best hitter in baseball? Who has the narrative edge?
Great question. Great question. Here's the thing, right?
Oh, I found my other stat. Sorry.
Okay.
Bobby Witt Jr., first player to have 10 triples, 30 stolen bases, 30 homers, and 40 doubles in a season.
Okay. Let me ask this question. How close are they to being knocked out of the playoffs by a run? They've lost 3 straight.
The Royals still have a 3-game advantage.
They have a 3-game advantage. So they're 3 games up. Now, they better take advantage of this next stretch. You got Detroit. You've also got San Francisco 3 more times at home, but then you go on the road for pretty much the end of the season. And Atlanta's not a punk.
No, Atlanta's fighting for their play. And I've said this all along,
right?
Ricky, is that the Royals need to have clinched a playoff spot by the time they go
hit
to
their
Atlanta.
road trip. Right.
They have to.
Yeah.
Atlanta's fighting for its playoff lives. I mean, it's within a game or 2 of the wild card right now, back and forth with the Mets in the NL East. If the Royals don't have a spot locked up by that last series, I don't feel good.
So my question then becomes, we saw the turbulence that was involved with, there's a few things I'll throw out. You saw the turbulence that was involved early on with the Yankees. But guess where they find themselves once again?
Top.
Who leads the charge of that getting to the top? Judge. Who's in the biggest market with the biggest payroll, dang near outside of the Dodgers and a few others, but they got a lot of money on the books. Yankees. Who's a storied franchise with a lot of legendary history? Yankees. My thing then becomes, now you've got a small market team, have won a series, had a huge drop off. Now you've got an emerging star in Bobby Witt Jr. that is now leading the charge. My issue then becomes, the narrative would change, I think, if they don't make it. So they better put themselves in a position to make it. The second thing becomes, your baseball brand needs young stars like Shohei Ohtani, needs Bobby Witt Jr. I think he's in the middle of prime in Aaron Judge. I think you still need to facilitate. I think you need to raise a young, emerging, gifted, versatile, diverse, talented player like Bobby Witt Jr. And kind of get the question going, who is he?
Anthony Volpe is
so you can start, you can start conversations. You can start little mini documentaries. You can start. So then you want to engage people to draw them in, right? So yeah, everybody would look at the storied franchise. Everybody would look at Aaron Judge, all of his success, everything that he's doing, which is phenomenal. But then would say, oh, that's nothing new. We've seen that, consistently. But something fresh, something new, always, it's like that shiny, new toy that you get. It's like that new club that opens in the city. You know what I mean? It's why teams change the names of restaurants from time to time.
I was really hoping you were just going to say new golf club.
That too. All of that. It's that new shiny thing, right? And that's what you're hoping. This is what I hope the discussion in the narrative would become. And hopefully could raise awareness more eyeballs on the sport. Yeah.
Right. According to Fangraphs and Baseball Reference at last check, they're separated by less than half a win. And I think that's become an advantage for the front runners that so many voters depend on and look at wins above replacement. So even if half a win isn't that big of a difference over the course of 162 games, if you see 10 to 9.5 or 10.5 to 10, that little advantage gets magnified by everyone looking at it. So I do still think that Aaron Judge ends up winning American League MVP, but justice for Bobby.
Yeah.
Justice for Bobby. God bless the Kansas City Royals.
Go get him, Bobby.
Go get Tarek.
I'm rolling with my guy on
My
Bobby.
man.
I'm rolling.
Let's hop back into football. In college football, Tennessee and Arkansas might have some new plans for NIL money, how to raise it. Do we like those plans? Do we not like those plans? And then is the NFL still a passing league? Is it still an offense league? We'll get to that at 3:30. Big thanks to Nebco for sponsoring the show. We'll be back with Hour 2 after this.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Concerts keep rolling at Pinewood Bowl with a great show on Wednesday, September 18th. Bare Naked Ladies headlines with Toad the Wet Sprocket starting things off at 7 p.m. for a trip down 90s memory lane. Don't miss Bare Naked Ladies and Toad the Wet Sprocket on Wednesday, September 18th at Pinewood Bowl. Get tickets today at Ticketmaster.com.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurk with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurk@fbfs.com.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we are out of the gate for September with a very special GMC sales offer. We must move out all new GMC truck inventory fast. So right now at Koppel, we are offering true GM supplier pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard right. True GM supplier pricing on all GMC Sierras. That's over $12,000 off on select models. That's GM supplier pricing, $12,000 off on Sierras. Do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
In dealing with the high interest rates, it's very important that you get as much bang for the buck. And that's what our Remington Homes is all about.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier and more affordable.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, whether you want painted trim or other upgrades. Those are all options with our Remington Homes. If you're looking for more affordability and streamlined, you're probably better off with a Remington home. People get into homes that didn't think they could get into a home. A good product for the right price in budget.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Are your feet just killing you? You feel like all hope is lost? Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to pain relief at Brown Shoe Fit. They offer expert advice along with high-quality products to help you find the right solution tailored to your specific needs. Need a different width? Not a problem. Brown's carries a wide range of widths in store. Brown Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Greens at 402-467-4444 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-4444.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it comes to a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options in warranty, brand, comfort, and efficiency while maximizing savings. Call 467-1111 or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hour 2 of a Wednesday show from 1040 O Street comes your way here. Austin Norman and Eric Strickland with you, brought to you by NEBCO. Check them out at nebcoinc.com. They're hiring 4 constructors. Lincoln, they're looking for some general laborers, and Ready Mix Concrete is looking for some CDL drivers. They will pay for your CDL training if that's the thing you need. Again, check them out at nebcoinc.com. 402-464-5685 if you have any thoughts on some new NIL ideas out of the SEC. Stricky, do you want to start with Arkansas or do you want to start with Tennessee? What you feel, my boy?
Arkansas.
You want to start with Arkansas? Okay. How about this? Arkansas's athletic director, Hunter Yurachek, proposed a quote-unquote easy name, image, and likeness solution. He says, if we can get 10,000 households across the state of Arkansas to give $100 a month all year long, we would be in the NIL game from a football perspective. It's that simple. Is it that simple? 10,000 households across the state of Arkansas. Is that an achievable goal for the Razorbacks?
10,000 for how much?
$100 a month.
That's okay. I think that's possible. I think in this economy, it's tougher for the average fan, but I think there are people that are out there. Now, here's the issue. If they're high-level boosters, they're probably going to look at that and be like, no. But, I'm already doing that part. So I think you're going to want to look for maybe alumni that are not necessarily boosters or not necessarily donors. I think you want to get your alumni groups involved at that point. You know what I mean? I think you want to target different areas within your school framework who want, the success of the program, who are bought into the program. But I think there should be an offering to it too, right? I don't know if it's a ticket package. I don't know if it's, meet and greet with the team or walk through the locker room with the game on the field. You know what I'm saying? Where I don't know. I think you want to give them some added value for that.
Yeah.
but I think you can get creative with it, and I think that's probably what you would want to do. I think that's possible when you're talking about. I know that would be possible throughout the Nebraska, right? I think there's ways that Nebraska could do that.
You just took my next question.
Yeah.
Is that potentially a model for Nebraska to follow, right? Arkansas, yeah, it has the Tysons and the Waltons, right? That's a couple really big benefactors there. But Arkansas has 17% of the state population living below the poverty line.
Yeah.
7th out of 50 states, right? It's not necessarily a rich state. Median household income in Arkansas, $54,000. These are posted by Reddit College Football. Someone else makes a good point, though, Strick. If you're asking 10,000 households in Arkansas, that's essentially 1% of the population of Arkansas. You're asking the top 1% of your state to give $1,200 a year. Is that a better framing of it? Is that still doable in the Arkansas context and then doable for Nebraska?
It is, but like I said, personally, I would say the narrative could be bad, being that, like you said, the poverty line, the economy. I think there's a way you could have integrated that conversation into banquets, or, like I said, through specific groups, through fraternal orders. There's a lot of ways you could have kind of disseminated that information without necessarily throwing it out, because people may look at you with a side eye when you're talking about that, right? Listen, it's probably no different than what churches may they may ask. They're trying to build a new facility for the church or for the kids or whatever, a new playground or whatever the case may be. They sometimes do stuff like, there's a way to disseminate it, because sometimes depending on what it is, I've heard people ask for planes. I'm like, wait a minute, like that's a whole different discussion. You're talking about building a playground and getting a plane, right?
Right.
So there's a way to do it. Now, like, for example, with Nebraska has Nebraskans for or Arizonans for Nebraskans, Californians for Nebraskans, New Yorkers for Nebraska. I would work to disseminate throughout those groups.
Yeah.
That type of message, because guess what they can do? They can pull together. Yo, it doesn't have to be 100. Oh, my 50, your 50.
There.
You know what I'm saying?
Got
like
there.
They're throughout those groups, you can have those type of discussions. New Yorkers for Nebraskans. They're Texans for Nebraskans. They're everywhere. I would work to disseminate it through those type of groups and work out some plans. Now, guess what? You're across the nation now as Nebraskans.
Yeah.
I mean, as Big Ten, you go from east to west.
Right.
So
just not southeast.
So like, if you go and play, like, I would offer something for those regional or those individuals. When you go up and play Rutgers, those individuals that donated, I provide like a cheap ticket package for them.
Sure.
Like, if it's $80, 25. You know what I'm saying? And a meet and greet with the team, shake hands, or whatever the case may be. Like, that's the type of way that I would get them to have buy-in, because they feel that they're connected to and they're tied to the program, and it doesn't, make them feel like you're just pulling on their coattails.
And I feel like this, for a lot of Midwestern states, is probably going to be the approach.
Yeah.
Minnesota, probably the same way. Iowa, probably the same way. Wisconsin, I would assume the same way. Really, Strick, I think if we look at the Big Ten specifically, there's maybe a handful of schools that can take the couple big boosters approach. Oregon with Phil Knight. Ohio State, I think, can have the best of both worlds. It's a huge institution, but it has a lot of pretty famous alumni. I think Michigan is the same way, where you can depend on its reputation and its big name alumni, I think, to come through time and time again.
Like,
Northwestern is probably in that same boat.
category.
But even like a Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, even like Washington, those are schools too that I think have to go hey, let's get more households involved. USC, UCLA, I'm curious to see if it's hey, we have to raise awareness among the masses, or if they have enough famous alumni that will pitch in, and we'll see. But contrast that to like Texas A&M in Miami, or even Texas, right? Those schools can get away with just a few big boosters, right? It seems like they have a limitless supply of money. If Nebraska just targets the big money people, it's going to run out. But there's a very fine line to draw, and you have to be careful with what you said about the messaging to common fans, because there's a guy here from, it was a Gorilla Bear, sorry. He says, as a season ticket holder for Nebraska, they can take a part of my outrageous donation fee and put that toward NIL. You've already raised the prices for season tickets. You know, everything is going up. We get it's the way of the world with inflation. So you have to be very careful with how you approach it in the messaging, because we get it. You're going to want more money from people. But there's a tactful and an obtuse way to do it.
That's a fact. So then the next one's probably going to give you an irk feeling. So do you want, because
Tennessee?
Because yeah, like I say, like they get an invite to a Hall of Fame ceremony. They get an invite to just different things, former players signing. You know, you get preferential treatment for a special gift from, you know, an alumni like Charles Woodson or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's a Hall of Famer. You get a, you know, you get that type of stuff. So that's the type of things that if you want to get creative, you can do it. Now my question then becomes, are collectives dead? Because would you prefer to, because here's my thing, right? There are organizations, and I'm not saying that this is the case, so don't say that I'm accusatory towards these organizations' function. No, I'm not. There are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of businesses, there are a lot of charity organizations that when you donate to them, sometimes you just don't know where it's going. You don't know how they're doing it, what, you know, where they're distributing the money, how they're distributing the money, what is the metrics for them distributing the money. Okay, cool. Would you be more apt to donate to a collective or directly to a program?
Aha. That is a fantastic question, because I think strict collectives are here to stay, but not how we thought of them initially, right? We thought of them as supposed to be separate from the university, but they're helping the university. Now there's a direct partnership with the collective in the university, or they're being brought in-house. So it's just a different name for it, right? I think there are a lot of people, Strick, especially college football, college athletic, you know, traditionalists, purists, whatever you want to call them, that they hear the word collective, they're out. They're not going to give money. They think it's dirty. They think it's slimy. They think it's gross. Well, guess what? These people are probably going to donate to the university in some form or fashion, right? Now, if you donate just to the university, are you sure that it gets pockmarked for athletics, or does it go into the university general fund?
Right.
I don't know if people know. I don't know if people care. But that's where I think NIL and collectives can say, hey, if you are a Nebraska basketball fan, if you're a Nebraska softball fan, sure, you can give to the collective. Sure, you can give to the university. But can we create an avenue for you to give directly to your program where you can actually more likely see your dollars at work, more likely know that it's going, hey, this is going to the recruiting budget. If I chip in, I might be able to pay for an extra tank of gas on a plane for a recruiting visit or something. If you just send the check and don't know where it goes, I can see how that would be disillusioning for some people. So I think you have to give them an option, not to see exactly how their money's being used, but make them feel good about giving the money, not just get them to give the money.
Voila. Great point. Great point. I don't really have much to tap in on that, because I feel the same way. I think there are creative ways of doing it. I think you have to look at creative ways of doing it. I think it's advantageous for programs. My then question becomes, what happens to Group of Six programs? Can they do it on that? I think they can. I think you can. There are people in those communities. I remember when I played in the minor leagues. Look, like, yeah, we were in upstate New York, and they felt it was a little too far to try to get to a Yankee game, but they loved their Elmira Pioneers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would show up, and it wasn't going to break their bank, and it wasn't going to hit their pocket, and a hot dog wasn't $15. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, but there are people in those communities, you and I, Northern Illinois, you know, these teams that feel good, App State, you know, they support their programs. I think they maybe feel that they can do a little something. I think you don't limit it to an individual household too. Look, can we get our own little collective going? Maybe we can raise 500 instead of 100. What we get if we do that? Some collective packages. I don't know. I think there's ways to be creative with it.
I do too, and I'm glad you brought up minor leagues because Strick, I start to get a sense that this is where we're heading. Think about how minor league baseball is funded. Some of it is through the major league team, right? But the owner is also distinct for these minor league clubs. Now, there's been a group that's been coming in, buying up a lot of minor league teams and running them, more as corporations. But part of the appeal of a minor league team is that it's supposed to be baked into the fabric of the community, that it's, hey, these are guys that want to be professional baseball players, but they're not at the MLB level. So you don't have to deal with all the MLB junk, or they do a really good job of hiding it, right? Where it feels like it's down home, it's cheaper, it's affordable than, I have to go to this big, scary downtown stadium and pay $30 for parking and whatnot. Minor league baseball feels approachable. And I think if you ask any group of 6 school, they don't want to be treated like the minor leagues. They don't just want their pity spot in the playoffs. And I don't want to tell these teams, suck it up, your minor league baseball. It's unfortunate because of what we've seen Northern Illinois do, because of the history of a Boise State knocking off an Oklahoma, or a TCU Wisconsin sort of matchup, or the UCF run against Auburn, right? Every year, every couple years, we get a run from one of these teams that prove they can hang with the big boys.
Yeah.
The hardest part for them is sustaining it because their coaches get poached, their players get poached. And that's accelerating. And to be fair, players are transferring down to level 2 when they can't hack it at the Division I level. There's not playing time, or Power 4 level, I should say, not Division I. So it does work both ways. But think about minor league baseball too, where if you're lucky, you'll have an apartment in your city. But sometimes, especially the lower minor league Strick, you have a host family. Is it a reasonable pitch to ask group of 4 programs to be quote unquote host families for these players? Like, have the player tied to a family that donates. Hey, here's your player that you're supporting. Your money is going toward helping feed him. You get appearances with him. They'll show up at your kid's birthday party or whatever. I don't know. It just feels like we're headed toward a minor league system for the group of 6, right or wrong.
Interesting. Yeah, and you're sure right about that, because I'll never forget that. That was a true reality check in multiple facets of playing the minor leagues. One, I think it created a grind in me like never before, because it's like I'm not staying here. And that happened prior to me getting cut, going back to the CBA. So it was a great lesson for me, because boy, when I tell you, Austin, your first year, they put you in a nice apartment. They sell you the dream. They make you feel like, oh yeah, this is all right. Nice apartment. They feed you every morning. They transport you to the stadium or to the fields. All of that. You get all of that, right? They take you when you go to short season A. They drop you. They put you in a hotel for 3 nights. Nice hotel, Holiday Inn, top of the line, good. Then the next thing you know, you got 3 days, or you got to pay for this yourself. Find a spot. You get dropped into a spot. Fine. So what you're saying, I love what you're saying, because they literally dropped us off and was like, you got 3 days to find a spot. 3 days in a new city, hoping that there's availability. And when I tell you, we just found a little upstairs podunk furnished, and then you got to find furnished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard. So I like the idea of what you created with the family, the connections. You got to also, you got to think about people's independence.
Right.
Like a lot of these players and their mindsets, there's an independent mindset. They like to kind of move around and go around like those obligations, but that's going to be part of what it needs to be done.
Right. Couple things from the text line here. So 8796 says minor leagues don't work that way anymore. They have to provide housing now. Yes, they passed some rules. They changed it. Housing is being built. It should be there.
I want my repay.
Just like all that NIL. Yeah,
I want my
pay.
reimbursement, y'all going. I paid for mine. Okay, I'm sorry. God damn.
So yes, it is getting better, but there's still plenty of stuff minor leaguers have to pay for and take care of on their own. The major league clubs don't. So yes, housing is improved, but still not perfect. And back on Tennessee here, Strick, I'm going to read these texts and then give the Tennessee numbers here. Brad says we're talking about $1 million institutions begging working people for money. LOL. Dirty Tony and the boys. I work 45 plus hours a week of hard labor to provide for my family and put food on the table.
Facts.
It is laughable to me to ask these fans to pay to watch kids play a kid's game. It's just stupid. And then a man named Ashley. That's $1,200 a year in the Arkansas example. That's equivalent to the donation for a well-located season ticket. I don't think your average person will pay that. The Tennessee numbers is just off the top.
Crazy.
10% increase in price on all ticket invoices.
Crazy.
And donations for the seats. Tennessee's adding an average increase of 4.5% just off the top.
Is that just football or is that basketball?
It's football right now.
Because basketball's got a big stadium. They've got a big...
that's all tickets. That's all tickets.
They just
all
think
tickets.
about how big their basketball stadium is, too.
Yeah.
Huge.
Baseball. They just paid their coach $3 million. Highest paid coach in history. Danny White is making the most money of any athletic director in the country right now, according to this ESPN article. And that, I think, is the point these people are getting to. You have the money. It is there to pay players. It's not that you don't have it. It's how you're using it.
Yeah.
How do universities get held accountable for how they're using their money? Tale as old as time. We still don't know if there's any accountability for how they're using it. Universities haven't been paying. Fans have.
That's a great point, Austin. I feel bad. I mean, because even myself, I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I noticed something that changed that really irked me as well, right? And it happened during my tenure. I don't know to the level of what it is now, but I remember when they said getting extra tickets for available seats was a financial benefit to us. So we had to pay for them. Like, I'm giving you what I got. Now, look, I know we're making great money, so that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying if I have family in town and they only give you 4 tickets, which is good.
Yeah.
But if I needed 8, I'd have to, but I play for the team.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to pay for the 8. I don't know what they do for college because I think it's something similar. You know, they've created these ways to which you can't sell tickets, and you know, because I ain't gonna lie, I think in high school to get a little extra change, I sometimes, if my parents weren't coming out, I'd sell my tickets.
Why not?
I need you wasn't giving me nothing. I needed some Domino's pizza that night.
Yeah.
I need something to eat. But anyway, so I can understand how a lot of people feel because that, you know, even myself, when it happened to us, I was like, you guys serious? I have to go ask my teammates of their 4 tickets if I needed extras.
Yeah.
You know, why it's not full stadium. Why can't you just give me the tickets?
Right.
It's crazy.
Because it's a financial benefit to you, Strick. That's why.
I guess so.
That's what they'll tell you. We'll go to break here. When we get back, onto the NFL. Is it still a passing league? Is it still an offense league? That's next during On the Block.
You've seen them come and go. Franchise testosterone clinics that pop up and then whoosh, they're gone. These franchise clinics quickly find out it's not easy to compete with Limitless Male. Limitless is locally owned and operated with a flawless protocol that has elevated them to be the best in men's testosterone replacement and sexual performance. By adding GLP-1s, our patients are losing weight in a healthy way. To feel your optimal best, schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are your feet just killing you? You feel like all hope is lost? Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to pain relief at Brown Shoe Fit. They offer expert advice along with high-quality products to help you find the right solution tailored to your specific needs. Need a different width? Not a problem. Brown's carries a wide range of widths in store. Brown Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Currently, above-ground pool inventories are nearly depleted. Get a complete premium above-ground pool for only $29.99. Build your own pool. Be swimming in under 48 hours. Beautify your backyard with all new patio furniture at the lowest prices ever. In-grounds from $24,999. Stone semi-in-ground from $69.99. Install. Swim spas, bullfrog spas, chemicals, all in stock. Hurry in today. These sales are going fast. SupremeSpaAndPool.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. Touchdown! This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through September 22nd, there's a special for ticket listeners only. Enjoy USDA Choice Porterhouse steaks for just $9.99 per pound, and all-natural extra meaty loin back pork ribs for $2.99 per pound. Tell the meat market you heard these prices on 93.7 The Ticket to get the deals. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny and breezy with a high around 90. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms. Otherwise, mostly clear with a low around 72. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine with a high around 93. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clutcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
From college sports to the NFL, Austin Norman, Eric Strickland talking about it with you here during On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. Make sure you check them out at nebcoinc.com. Stricky, as you look at the NFL right now, passing league or rushing league? Offense league or defense league?
I still think it's a passing league, but I think they're slowly starting to revert back. And the value for running backs, I think, are going to start going up. Reason being is I think passing quarterbacks are they're across the board is not very good, right? I think defenses are starting to scheme better for them. I think they're going to figure out a way to really incorporate running games a little bit more. You saw the success of like the New Orleans Saints and what they had in the run game, and even
anyone that plays the Colts in the run game.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're starting to kind of see that and how valuable it is. I want to see. Maybe I want to take another look at it mid-season and kind of get an assessment as to who's doing well and who's surviving, because you can also make the case that Baltimore, the Ravens, are who are a very run-dominated team who has had some success in the past are struggling now because they really don't have much of a pass game. So I think it ultimately comes down to one-dimensional. I think if you have, similar to what Nebraska's got going on, 55-45, somewhere in that 52.5 to 48.5. I mean, whatever the case may be, right? I think if
that'd be 101%.
Was it? Oh, 47.5.
No. Yeah.
48.5. I said 48.5.
Yeah, but then it'd have to be 51.5.
Oh, dang, you're right. That's what I meant.
Math.
Yeah, hey, listen, math was not my favorite category, but I did get through it. I did do it. I didn't like trigonometry. I was like, what the heck are we going to use this for?
Off?
I trigged that off. Yeah, Austin. Now, offensive I think defenses are looking great right now.
But is it an offense league or a defense
league? It's an offensive league because of the rules.
But see, I think defenses are getting smarter and fighting back, Stricky. Through 2 weeks, this is from Danny Kelly on Twitter. He is a staff writer about the NFL for The Ringer. Through 2 weeks, teams are averaging 2.14 touchdowns per game. Granted, through 2 weeks, right? So let's check back midseason. If that number, 2.14 touchdowns per game, per team, holds up, it would be the lowest number since guess when?
2004.
Keep going.
2000.
Keep going.
96.
92.
Good Lord.
Stricky, 2 weeks into the 2023 season, there were 15 300-yard passing games. Guess how many 300-yard passing games there have been through 2 weeks in the NFL this year?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2.
5. You're down 2/3 from last year. 2/3 is meant, as few. It's crazy.
Is it a defensive issue or is it a? Go ahead.
Is it a defensive issue or what?
Or is it a bad quarterback issue?
What if I told you I'm going to credit defensive coordinators? Mina Kimes was asked about this on ESPN. Got the audio here. Thanks to Rico for recording it. I want Jay's thoughts on this when he comes in as well. You and I can talk about it here first and set the stage. But I think Mina Kimes makes a good argument. I got some more stats to pull out as well. But here's Mina Kimes.
There are a couple things, Laura, that stand out. One, you got a lot of rookie quarterbacks playing, and historically, rookie quarterbacks have always struggled out the gate. I think a couple of those guys that you mentioned have been struggling for a while. Deshaun Watson, Bryce Young, Kirk Cousins, obviously, with the injury. But another thing I think that's pretty significant is the way defenses are playing offenses, which is to say, basically daring them to either run the ball or check it down. In fact, in week 1, defenses played with light boxes against the run at the highest rate since NGS started tracking the data 8 years ago. They played too high shell coverage at the highest rate since NGS by a pretty dramatic margin. And because of that, you'll see here, the average depth of target for quarterbacks was the lowest it's been in years. Not just the lowest, though. It's been trending down for a while. Took a sharp turn. I mean, we're talking about a full yard down since 2019. So essentially, defenses are making quarterbacks into a bunch of checkdown artists. And when offense gets tight like that, you're going to start to get frustration, sometimes inaccuracies. But for the most part, explosive plays are really hard to come by unless you can run defenses out of those looks.
Yes. I have to agree. They're forcing them. I think the DBs are phenomenal too. I think they're leveraging. They're figuring out ways to close windows to get into certain zones. They're understanding because they've been passing for so long. Like there's not much in the route tree or in the pattern combinations that you can't really not have seen at this point. There's some form of it. There's every now and then, but again, what establishes the ability to me to win in route combinations or in the route tree comes from the run game. That's when you open up certain windows based on your abilities to have to create more people or put more people in the box. You have to run blitz more. You have to do different things, which create different angles, which you're able to run behind them or create a route combination behind it. That's where you're getting some of that availability. But if you're behind chains and they know what's coming, please believe these defensive coordinators are good enough based on formations and different things to be able to, put you in a tough bind.
The NFL as a whole is copying what it took to slow down the Chiefs, not stop them, right? But think about the difference from the first championship for the Chiefs to their last two.
Yeah.
It hasn't been the deep ball necessarily. It hasn't been Tyreek. It's been Travis Kelce over the middle. It's been yards after catch guys in Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster a couple of years ago. Marquez Valdez-Scantling was the changeup for the Chiefs last year. When they got the right look, they would go to him down the field. But Strick, because of how explosive the Chiefs offense was, because of how, the Shanahan and McVay offenses played, teams were playing a lot more nickel, a lot more dime as well, lightening up the box. A guy like Shanahan never went away from the run, but that's why you see a team like Tennessee not have as consistent success in the postseason with Vrabel and Derrick Henry. Passing will always be more efficient than running. You average more yards per completion than you do per carry.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple, it's more efficient. You are still, according to expected points added, better off passing every down than running every down.
So you're the analytic
Wait,
queen.
wait, but
You're the analytic king.
But
Basketball
I will get
too.
there. I will get there, right? If you just look at the numbers, they would tell you are better off passing. Yards per carry, 4.2 so far in 2024. It hasn't been higher than 4.3 dating back to 2019, right? Success rate, exact same as it's been running the ball in the NFL. Teams are running more because of the light boxes. And this is where I get back to my nerd point here, Strick. Nerds are telling you throw the ball, it's more efficient, it's easier to get explosive plays, right? But what the nerds didn't see coming was that if you tell offenses to pass, guess what? Defenses have to adjust. And as much as we give the whiz kids crap for buying maybe too far into the numbers, when they get a light box, they're going to run. They're not that dumb. So the nerds outwitted themselves by telling everyone to pass. They might have brought back a resurgence in the run game.
Austin, you're onto something. But I want to understand though, are you fully? This is why I had the discussion. I mean, I remember me and Nick Van Exel was this is when I was living in Texas. We were playing some golf and we were having that discussion, and we were both a little perturbed at the imbalance of the analytics that was implemented into the game. It took out a lot. Like it sometimes sports tend to go in an unbalanced manner, right? Like it's an extreme to one side or the other.
Yes.
So meaning, like, it used to be so overwhelmingly eye test that analytics had no chance of getting in. Oh, your numbers can't tell me whatever. Okay, that's just a bunch of numbers. They don't mean nothing. And then all of a sudden it went all the way analytics, and then it's no longer a little bit of eye test. And then I think it's better suited if you have a form of some balance to it.
Always.
Right? And are we there, or are we going to an extreme? Where do you think?
I would like to think that we're swinging back more towards
Toward
the
a balance.
middle. Do I think that the running back position is going to all of a sudden take over as, the highest paid position in football again, take it over from quarterback? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Because guess what? The second you load up that box against the run, you're giving a quarterback making $50 million plus an opportunity. Now, should all these quarterbacks be making $50 million? I don't think all of them deserve it based on their play. But guess what? It's the market. And they're good enough to take advantage of it, right? So the second that you get out of dime to play nickel, the second you get a nickel to go to base, quarterbacks are going to see that and adjust, because pass catchers, you look at your juice checks, you look at your Kelce's, you look at your Kittles, even some of your perimeter run blockers are good enough athletes that, guess what? Quarterback sees a mismatch, offensive coordinator sees a mismatch, or they can create one. They're going to do that. So where I think defenses are ahead of the curve right now is that they are still able to stop the run well enough that they can stay in their passing down personnel packages. I found the stats here and I just scrolled past them because I was trying to find the exact wording of the tweet I was referencing before. See if I can find it again here. Oh yeah, so Seth Walder, who does stats and info for ESPN,
Expected points added per dropback, 0.01. Expected points added per designed handoff, designed carry, negative 0.03. But the difference between pass and run is shrinking. So you got 0.04 difference this year. It was 0.06 last year, and it was a full 3/4 of a point more efficient on a per play basis to pass than run as recently as 2020. The run game is striking back to some degree, but defenses are willing to take that trade-off, Strick. Same with the mid-range game in basketball, right? It's all threes and free throws, threes and layups, right?
Right.
The correlation to football is defenses are willing to give you the run because, yes, teams are running more, but as we just went through with all those stats, they're not necessarily running it better. It's still in line with what it's been for each of the last 6 years. Until offenses get up to 4.5, 4.7, even 5 yards per carry, defenses won't adjust because they will take the trade-off. They'll let you hit the mid-range jumper and dare you to beat them that way because they still believe in their ability to hit enough of the deep balls to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great breakdown, Austin. I don't know how I still want to wait maybe a little bit longer, get into a little bit middle of the season to see how some of these numbers are starting to play out a little bit. I do believe I don't know if it's college quarterbacks getting to the next level. I don't know if it's distractions. I don't know if they're sitting on PlayStations and they think that that's part of their film work. I don't know. I don't know, but
Kyler Murray does.
I don't know why the youth that have been thrust, or has it always been that way and it just hasn't been noticed? Maybe that's the case. Maybe we just didn't notice it to the tune that we do now. Maybe because of social media, it's the way it is now. Because some great quarterbacks back in the day, some today would say they're, like some would look at Joe Theismann and think he's not a great quarterback. Some would look at even what's our guy that played? My mind just drew a blank on Steelers. Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Some would look at Bradshaw and say, he's not a great quarterback. I mean, you know what I mean? Could you look at Aikman and say that? No, I think Aikman had a good balance. I think he had a good balance. Great run. I think, to me, old Cowboys, their style was a winning recipe. You got your Irvins, then they always had a second guy, but then you had your Emmett, and there was just a great balance there. I think that's where a lot of their success come from. You can just go back and look at, those great Chicago teams, a great balance of defense with offense, running game with a Walter Payton and Jim McMahon is another one that fits that category. He just wasn't like a dominantly great.
No,
Jim McMahon would be like, you guys told me, Joe Flacco of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about what the Ravens were.
Yep, 2012. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? He basically, McMahon is Joe Flacco incarnate. 402-464-5685 if you feel what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just saying you understand the correlation of what I'm saying.
Well, we got some thoughts on that text line. We want more throughout the break. Jay Foreman on a call. It'll be Strick and I wrapping up on the block before Old School come back with us.
Hey, Nebraska football fans, it's defensive lineman Ty Robinson, and I've got a winning play for you with Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Team up with Action and install a new Bradford white water heater in your home. And if we win the conference championship this season, you'll get a full refund. Don't fumble this opportunity. Sack your old water heater this season and score big with Action. Visit actionlincoln.com/Huskers to learn more.
Promotion valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Disney on Ice presents Mickey's Search Party. Get closer to the magic than ever before. Play along with the Toy Story gang. Explore the colorful world of Coco. Sail away with Moana. Soar to new heights with Belle. And journey to Arendelle to thaw a frozen heart. It's an all-out celebration at Disney on Ice presents Mickey's Search Party. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena September 27th through 29th. Visit DisneyOnIce.com and get your tickets today.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're wrapping up a Wednesday show here on the block. Strick and Austin. Jay Foreman off the call early.
There
Jay,
he
welcome
is.
in.
There he is.
What's happening?
You're a busy man. Appreciate you making time for us on a crossover.
Oh, you know I'm gonna do that,
He
man.
big time this. He almost
No, I
big time
didn't.
this.
I didn't. I got done right on
Plenty
time.
of time.
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Hair on my chinny chin chin.
We're talking NFL here, so we're glad we have you in to talk about this. Jay, we're talking about the NFL just kind of as a whole.
Mm.
Is it still an offense-driven league, or is defense starting to fight back where you can say there's maybe a better balance now?
In the first quarter of the season is always going to be a better balance because teams don't play. They don't play their starters in the preseason anymore. So they put a big emphasis on when they do like co-practices with teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, but that's better to evaluate talent. But you're not going to get game speed and game reps. So the passing game, the continuity and the efficiency is starting off slow, like always, offensively. So defenses are a step or two ahead. Eventually, once the players and you get that continuity of the offense is the catch back up. It's always going to be an offensive league based on what the the rules in the situation. Did you get it?
Got it?
Absolute
There it is.
commando.
Stricky's that boy. He's that man.
There it is.
Yo.
There it is.
Hey, you
go,
come
Stricky.
in here, flies get capped up in here. Yo. Okay, I'm sorry.
Someone on the text line, Craig here throws out, says, guys, please step back. Think about it. This is a horrible quarterback issue. Look who retired in the last 5 years and who came in. It's very obvious that passing is down because of the quarterback play. Our quarterbacks may be more physically talented, but less challenged mentally because the coordinators hold their hands so much, maybe?
This is a epidemic problem from peewee leagues all the way up to pros. You know, the reason why is because what people are doing with these club teams or even the peewee leagues, they're taking their best athlete, and obviously your quarterback get the ball the most. The RPO is taking away the I guess the emphasis on thinking your way through the game and fundamentally.
But the RPO is a read, but it's just a simplified read.
It is. You only read one thing. You're not, and then also with the whole thing, now with the headsets, they're not calling plays. Now there will be a little bit more because you're in direct communication, but the ability to play quarterback position has really fallen off, and it's more of an athlete-driven position now. But what's happening is, and what has happened, the guys that really could play quarterback are no longer here in the NFL. And so that's why the last of the Mohicans is like Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford's, those guys. And that's what's helped Baker Mayfield.
Lyle's on his way.
Right. And Baker Mayfield, come on now. Don't put that on that dude. Let him get there when he's ready. Baker Mayfield has made a comeback because he'll get there in time. Just relax. Okay. 3 games in. Is that Baker Mayfield put an emphasis on the fundamentals and how to play quarterback. That's why you see the improvement in him. We'll get into this NFL thing on Old School, but the quarterback position, that's what I said this how many times on Old School. If you can't make it in playing quarterback with these dudes out here, then you better go get a quarterback trainer that knows how to play quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you better get with him, and you will go further than any of these dudes before, because the ability to play,
7-on-7,
that's not going to get you nowhere. You better be able to play the position versus, you get drafted and you got an 80-yard arm, but you got 0% accuracy.
We're going to take 10 seconds for ID and then Stricky.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, so check it. Jay.
What's happening?
The beautiful thing about you is you're very versatile in sports. You not only played hoop, you coach hoop.
Yeah.
You're around it,
Mm-hmm.
and also with football and the levels that you've ascended to. Now, here's my question. Do you find that it's similar in the basketball realm as opposed to the football? Because this is what you're finding. There's a lot of skills training. There's a lot of people that are doing all this stuff and getting you right and doing your Dak Prescott hip action and all that stuff. But they're not really teaching you how to play the position.
Yeah.
They're not sitting you down and really breaking down film. It's a mini hustle. And it's the same thing on the basketball side. A bunch of training. A lot of guys can do a lot of things, but then when it comes to really being able to play the game, am I on to something?
You're 100% factual, man. I see it at the level that I coach and see some guys around here and I'm not knocking anybody hustle. I'm not doing that. One of the better trainers out there's a couple out there that I usually send my kids to. They teach them the moves and stuff they need to do, and then they get out there and show them this is when you will do it. And then you know what's even better is that those guys are, at least there's a couple, and one in particular, he's invested enough in all of his players, he goes and watches them. So what happens is, what you're talking about is you'll go to, whatever place and train, ain't never come watch you play. Right? So you go through all these cones. Here's the problem with these cones. These cones don't bite back.
That part.
And then also you're doing a lot of the stuff and you're doing one-on-one training. Bro, if you go one-on-one, there's 8 guys on the court, 8 other guys on the court. You're not getting into the lane with 50 moves, you know better than that. And here's also, look, Gilbert Arenas' son is probably one of the most skilled kids I've seen with my own 2 eyes. I mean, I'm talking about skill.
Oh, yeah, I've seen him.
Probably needs to D up a little bit more, but I'm talking about offensively. He's efficient. One power dribble pull up, one power dribble in and out dribble there, dime. Steph Curry, he only gets into his bag when he has to. Or when he's really trying to when he's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
The best, let's say this. Okay, take LeBron out of it. The two best, or I can say, if the game's on the line, besides George Gervin, okay, and Bernard King, but in the most recent time, if a game is on the line and I need somebody to be a killer, it's Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
That's a fact.
Okay, that's fact.
That's a fact.
In fact, and then third would be LeBron. Fourth, tied with is Kevin Durant. But the first,
we own something. Okay, I'm feeling you.
But the first, we're talking. Austin, chill out. The first two, though, if you watch what they done, it's all fundamentals.
1, 2 to the spot, bang.
Right, pull up jumper, boom, fade away. Then they, if they got to, they'll get in. Jordan can do all this, and Kobe and all that. Do that, but that's 10 times a year, maybe. What are they doing? Right. They pull up jumper you to death. They're getting into it because they're doing it so much.
They're getting to where they've done 1,000 times. I'm getting right here, and there's nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. But take that. Take that.
One of the best.
No Diddy.
One of the best. You definitely don't want no Diddy right now. One of the best scorers that people don't talk about is Bernard King, and he talked about how he became a good scorer, and is at the University of Tennessee. And he went through some personal stuff, but when he was kind of coming back, he had 9 points on the court. He said, "Once I get to that spot, it's over. It's over because it was just like automatic. Steph Curry, it's automatic."
I would say baseball has a lot of the same, right? Whereas football, it's let's hit the big play, let's pass because it's efficient. Basketball's threes and layups. Baseball's home runs and strikeouts.
Yeah,
right. Because pitchers, it sells, it brings headlines, but if you only get a couple good pitches a game, you probably want to try to maximize it, right? Because it's hard to catch up to 100 miles an hour or 95 plus consistently. So you may as well put your best swing on it and try to hit it out. Or if you're a pitcher, defense can let you down, right? Where there's got to be room in the game of football for a 4.5 yard to carry back. There's got to be room in the game of basketball, and there is for a Chris Paul, for a Carmelo Anthony, right? The mid-range never dried up in basketball. Star players still take those shots. But there's no room in baseball right now for singles hitters, for slap hitters, right? Where you teach the game at quote-unquote its purest form.
Yeah. No more Suzuki Ichiros.
No, not a whole. And even Ichiro had that batting practice power, but he knew it didn't always translate the game. So what am I going to do? Chill out and focus what I'm best at. And I think what we're finding is maybe football starting to swing back. I think both of you said, well, wait till midseason, we'll check back in. Basketball, I still think the mid-range is still there, just not to the degree it used to be. Baseball's the one I think has a real reckoning ahead of it to figure out what the heck needs to be done because defensive coordinators are adjusting. I think defensive teams like the Thunder and the Wolves have adjusted.
Yeah.
Baseball hasn't.
I think if you embrace it, it'll come back and then it'll go back there. I will say this. I don't think the way that majority of guys view good basketball players is going to change much, but I can tell you that the separation between the guys that can really get it done, both basketball and football is fundamentally, it's all about fundamentals.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at just the best receivers or the best quarterbacks, they're the most efficient. They're the winners. You're not going to win out there, like you see it all the time when, these, like the AAU mentality, we're just going to go get a bunch of individual players and you're going to one-on-one. You're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. Now, it will work out individually, but I would argue if you're a good player and you are fundamentally sound along with the juice, you will go further. You will go further and longer. And
Jay's basically saying this. You know what you're saying?
What am I saying?
Jay's basically saying football is like bell bottoms. They'll come back eventually.
They will. All you need is one. All you need is one star.
Or the afro.
One star to do it, and it's a copycat league.
But Derrick Henry didn't. So if Derrick Henry didn't bring it back, who's going to be the running back version or the running game version of Mahomes Reed?
Well,
is it Shanahan McCaffrey?
Hold on. If you really get down to Kansas City, if you really just peel back. The running game is the reason why they've always won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Go back to the first one. Right? Yeah. The running back that was third and he stepped up, he pounded them for 100 yards. When you really want to be good offensively, yes, Patrick Mahomes is the best out there going. But look at Joe Burrow. The reason why Cincinnati's offense isn't as dangerous is because Joe Mixon isn't there. CJ Stroud will tell you the ability to keep on schedule allows you to explode offensively with Jamar Chase or whoever it is. Why do you think Kansas City is able to play action? Pachenko it's going to be interesting to see how the offense changes with him gone, because he's a threat in the way he runs, in his breakaway speed has set up everything that allows Travis Kelce to start off to a slow start. Now he's getting banged up a little bit. Now he's going to probably have 150 yards. But when you look at every Andy Reid's offense, run oriented. Go back to when the Patriots beat the Rams, when they beat Philly, and when they beat Carolina. They were physically run. They had Antoine Smith, Corey Dillon, Antoine Smith for the first two, I think, and Corey Dillon. So when it comes down to it, even when they beat the Rams here recently,
17-3,
we're going to get in the phone booth and look at 49ers.
Yeah.
Right? He's out. Or Christian McCaffrey's out.
Trouble.
All of a sudden, the offense sputters. Even though Purdy played good, give Purdy his props.
Stricky, what's tomorrow?
What is tomorrow?
Thursday. Mañana.
This dude here.
I'm excited.
This dude here is flat. You out.
I need an athlete. You said I need an athlete.
But I know. We're gonna get.
You're back up to date.
Yeah, we're gonna get you some of that. We're gonna get you that Tiger blood.
Thunderknock Collins does say Larry Bird is way higher on those shot makers than LeBron. So
sure,
that's a nice little grenade to throw there.
Larry, you make Larry Bird, man. All you had to, Larry Bird said, all you had to do
tell you where he gonna give it to you at.
Or
how, when, where, why.
He said, Larry, all you gotta do is have a white dude guard Larry Bird, and he's gonna give you 50 because he's gonna be mad. You remember that?
Right? How dare you?
Yeah.
Disrespect.
You go, so who this dude guard me, man? That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Larry
with
Bird.
Us. We got old school coming up next. Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance,